What's going on YouTube? JT is born here. Welcome back to another Godzilla, Kong, Monsterverse related video. I just want to kind of talk about something. So yesterday something special came in the mail, and that is this, my Monsterverse Omnibus Legends of the Monsterverse. So what's really cool about this thing is it collects all the Monsterverse graphic novels that have come out since, 2014. We have Godzilla Awakening, Skull Island, The Birth of Kong, Godzilla Dominion, Kingdom Kong, and the all-new, never-before-seen story, Godzilla Fight or Flight. So Godzilla Fight or Flight was not released in any of the previous omnibuses or graphic novel collections or whatever you want to call them. I think it was part of a Kickstarter campaign where you could contribute to something, then you get your copy or whatever. Not sure how it all 100% works, but I finally got this thing and I want to tell you what's featured in it and if there's anything from the graphic novels that didn't quite make it to this. So I will say right out the get-go, 99.9% of the stuff that's in those graphic novels is featured in this thing. I'll tell you there's one thing I noticed that is missing from this, and I will let you know in a second. So like I said, you got all that stuff. It's beautifully done, so it's kind of laid out like this, where you kind of go basically in order of release of all the graphic novels right there. So like I said, you start out with Awakening, then you go Birth of Kong, then you go Aftershock, then Godzilla Dominion, then Kingdom Kong, and then the last storyline is the Fight or Flight storyline, which was not previously featured in anything really else kind of before it, but it is part of, like I said, I'm glad it's included as kind of a little extra bonus to get a little bit more incentive for those who haven't picked it up. And there's also some creature profiles featured in this that weren't featured in the graphic novels beforehand. So I guess I'll go, like I said, you got pretty much everything 100%, like 99.9% of the stuff in there. This stuff right here, for example, this was in if you picked up also the Monsterverse Titanthology, you'll get this little extra page right here, which is featured in that. This is sketch art for Godzilla Aftershock, but in my hardcover edition of Godzilla Aftershock, this page, these two pages are not featured in that. So, yeah, like I said, you got all that stuff. I guess we'll go graphic novel by graphic novel, let you know what's fully in there and whatnot. So first one is Godzilla Awakening. It's the original one I got 10 years ago. Everything in this thing is featured in here, so you're not going to really be missing anything from this to pick this up right here. The next one is Skull Island, The Birth of Kong. They have literally everything that's featured in this thing, except maybe these little logos or whatnot, right here. It just kind of jumps right into the action. I should mention that beforehand too, or maybe this credit page or whatever, but the stories themselves are all featured in there, and you get these little monster logs or Monarch confidential files. These are all featured in there as well. The next one, the only thing I kind of noticeably noticed is kind of missing from the omnibus. So obviously you got little bonus artwork thing right here that's not featured in the omnibus per se. But like I said, the main, or these little title cards right here, because it kind of the way it's jumped out is it'll start with page 1 right there. Hang on, let me just skip ahead to the pages. Doing this all off the cuff. So if we go to the next one, then it just kind of jumps in there. So you kind of have your little title cards like that. So they're a little bit different. Like I said, there's some things that kind of carry over. Like I said, about 99.9% of the stuff that's in there is in there. So, but the one thing that was featured in this, which is also included in the Titan Anthology one, that's surprisingly not in this, is this last bonus page right here. So Monarch has all these little confidential files, which you'll see. Like I said, you have Jinshin Mushi, which is the Muto Prime, whatever. This stuff is in here, but the only page not included is this little bonus extra page. This is the one thing that's kind of missing from this omnibus that's featured in, everything else that's kind of came before it. So, like I said, Kingdom Kong, everything in here is basically in there. You also have some creature profiles right there. You have the Spirit Tiger and you have Camazotz. So these are included in Kingdom Kong. But one of the things I really liked about this omnibus, though, is it features other creature profiles which weren't included in that. So the only ones that carried over from those graphic novels are Camazotz and the Spirit Tiger. Dominion doesn't really have any of that in there. I mean, there's some sketch art, but you don't really have the character creature profiles. So I'm going to show you kind of what's in this stuff really quickly. Let's skip ahead. Like I said, all the data is kind of like the stuff you'd see in Skull Island, Birth of Kong. That's all right here. But some other stuff that's included in this graphic novel that's not included beforehand. So you have these little Monarch files right here, and then you kind of skip ahead to this one. Like I said, you have Amhuluk right there. You got a little creature profile on that tells you everything about the Titan itself. You have Behemoth, and it'll let you know their behavior, if they're a protector or whatnot. So Behemoth is listed as a protector. Amhuluk is listed as a destroyer. And then we have Camazotz, like I said, this is featured in Kingdom Kong, so that carries over. Then we have Nakika, which is a destroyer, and this thing is huge. So you get that feature here. This was not featured in the other like graphic novels. I wonder if they intended to include it in Godzilla Dominion or whatnot. But like I said, in my two graphic novels here, these are softcover versions. Maybe the hardcover versions of them, if they're out there, are a little bit different. Like I said, you also have Scylla, which was not included in my graphic novels, but it's featured in here. Spirit Tiger, like I said, this was in Kingdom Kong, so that's in there. Tiamat, not included in the graphic novels, which is featured in here. And then you have some creator bios, which is kind of information carried over from the other stuff. So that's all in there. That's all good. And it kind of has a little Monarch logo. Now, one of the main selling points of this for me, like I said, I'm a big completionist, so I like to kind of have everything in one place. But one of the things that sold it for me was an all-new bonus storyline, which was not released in any of these graphic novels beforehand. I think it was like as part of some sort of Kickstarter campaign. I don't 100% know for sure. But that is the Godzilla Fighter Flight storyline. So this is set during the events of Godzilla vs. Kong. It's not like, I expected it to be a little bit bigger, but it's really not. Basically, with the storyline, it's very, very brief. It's only a couple pages long. It's like some backup you'd see in like a comic book. You kind of have somebody who was there during the events of 2014. He was this pilot. He watched Godzilla stop the Mutos, and he's kind of become a Godzilla fanboy of sorts, kind of like a Serizawa or like a Millie Bobby Brown, Madison Russell type character. He's a pilot, and there's also, like I said, this is some cool little artwork here. It kind of recaps King of the Monsters as well. I believe this is also the only time that Ghidorah is featured in one of these graphic novels beforehand, unless I could be wrong about something. But like I said, it's some cool looking artwork. It kind of tells the story, and basically Godzilla is approaching the mainland because, as you know, in Godzilla vs. Kong, Apex was building Mechagodzilla, so this is kind of told during the events of that. Like, you have these pilots in there. He doesn't really want to fight Godzilla, given what Godzilla was there when the stuff happened 10 years ago. And so Godzilla starts attacking. Like I said, we get some shot recreations from GVK. This pilot kind of goes out there. He doesn't really want to fight. The other pilots are fighting. Granted, their missiles are kind of ineffective. Godzilla's taking stuff down. This pilot's plane kind of crashes. But he realizes there's got to be a reason Godzilla's here. Kind of like how Madison Russell was. Godzilla wouldn't just attack for no reason. And of course, like I said, Apex was building Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla sensed something wrong. And of course, it kind of ends on that little brief preview right there. And that's that. I honestly think that this should have just been included as like a backup in Godzilla Dominion. It's not really worthy of like its own full-blown like release, because it's how many pages? We can count this thing, like not including this like little number 6 right here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Well, actually, I guess it is kind of length of an average like issue of a comic book, but there's really not much else like to it for there. But like I said, if you're somebody who has not picked up the graphic novels beforehand, then I think this is a must buy if you're a Monsterverse fan. You want to have them all in one set. I think it's only, like I said, this Amazon has this listed for like $70. I actually pre-ordered this thing last year, and then my order was shipped like two weeks ago. It got lost in transit, and never heard any updates for that. So I waited like 10 days, still no updates. So I'm not going to wait anymore. I want my Omnibus. So I basically canceled that order, and then I reordered it again, and at a much cheaper price. So I'm getting refunded like the difference. I think initially when I bought it, it was like over $100 something, and the price went down, so I got reimbursed $30 like on Amazon. And then me canceling my order that was delayed for like 10 days with no updates, was probably lost. Get reimbursed for that, and then I ended up buying it at a cheaper price for like $70 anyways. So like I said, I had to wait a little bit, but I ended up saving money in the end for this Omnibus. So I really like it. It's a nice hardcover thing. You get some cool looking bonus artwork of Godzilla and Kong. Pretty much, like I said, 99.9% of the stuff that's featured in those graphic novels is in here. You're not going to miss out on any of the story beats. The stories are there as they were there. It's just like I said, you'll miss like one page of Godzilla Aftershock, which, like I said, is also kind of included in this little like anthology or whatever Titanthology thing, which collects some stuff. You're just really missing this page. And like I said, some other kind of unique things for the graphic novels, like a title card or something that's like exclusive to that. They're not generally going to reprint that in this thing. So, but like I said, you get basically everything. Like I said, 99.9% of the stuff that's in there. You get some cool looking cover art. right there of all the Titans and all that stuff. And it's, like I said, it's a pretty good stuff. And like I said, Brian Bruccioletto is also writing the Monsterverse Justice League crossover. So I'm looking forward to that. I already pre-ordered that graphic novel. Like I said, I've been picking up the single issues, and when that thing comes in like full like trade paperback, I'm going to get that and add it to my collection as well. So that's not featured in here. But like I said, these are just exclusive, like, you know, Legendary comics. Like I said, not the DC crossover stuff, because that's still ongoing. But everything else beforehand, if you want to get all that, you want to get your full Monsterverse fix with all the lore and some information on some of the other Titans and all that, definitely a must pick up. And like I said, I really like this thing. So if you picked up Legend of the Monsterverse, you have any questions about it, you want to ask me, let me know. What did you think about it? Are you going to pick this thing up, or are you just going to kind of hold off? I mean, you are getting a bonus storyline. I mean, there's not much to it. Like I said, it's like a single issue thing. But it's not included in the other stuff. So you're either going to get that or not, or whatever. So I probably should also get like the hardcover stuff with some of these other things. There's like some alternate ones too. Like I said, I have this version of Aftershock. I think there was like another edition of it out there somewhere. There's also like softcover variants of like all this other stuff too. So, I mean, there's only so much like my wallet can take, I suppose. But like I said, I want to kind of get everything I can when it comes to this universe, because I really love the Monsterverse. So there you go. But anyways, that's all I have to say about this thing. Thanks so much for watching. Not sure I'm going to title it. Maybe just Legend of the Monsterverse discussion or whatever, and yada, yada, yada. We're almost time for Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. We're less than 2 weeks away at this point. I can't wait to see this thing. It's not this upcoming week, but it's the following week. I'm going to be in the theater. I already got my tickets. I'm going on the 28th. There's like a 4 p.m. showing in IMAX, and I'm excited to see this thing. We're ready to just kind of get it out there, and then we're going to go through a bit of a drop for Godzilla stuff. But you know what? I had fun, so that's the important stuff. But anyways, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.